Hi, I'm Ted Yates with more pop music trivia. On this edition, which will include a quiz, I'll be counting down the 10 biggest hits you thought reached number 1. These classic hits all stalled at number 2. I'll also identify the hit that kept them from reaching number 1. You'll have a chance to test your music skills, too. I'll give you a few seconds while the bit of the hit is playing to give me the answer to a question from each. Keep track of your score out of 10 with a pen and paper, or just listen and play along. The King starts it off with the 10th biggest classic hit which didn't quite reach the top, Burning Love. What year was it popular? 1972, 1974, or 1976? The answer is coming up in a few seconds.
Lord Almighty, I feel my temperature rising. Higher, higher, it's burning through to my soul.
Number 10. Burning Love, the last official top 10 hit by Elvis Presley, and one that peaked on the charts at number 2. It didn't reach number 1 because the future son-in-law he never knew, Michael Jackson, was holding on to the top spot with Ben. I asked you what year that was, and your choices were 1972, 1974, or 1976. If you chose 1972, you are correct. Now, number 9 on the list of the greatest number 2 hits, and why it didn't reach number 1. Who is the singer of this 1973 hit?
Give us those nice bright colors. Give us the greens of summers. Makes you think all the world's a sunny day. Oh yeah.
Number 9. Kodachrome, a good time summer 1973 hit named after the Kodak 35mm film. Who is the singer-songwriter? Paul Simon. Billy Preston's Will It Go Round in Circles prevented it from reaching number 1. Next up, number 8, a classic rocker, Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis. What year do you think this peaked at number 2? Was it 1956, 1958, or 1960? The answer in a moment.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I let you love all I thought it was funny. You came along and moved me, honey.
Number 8, Great Balls of Fire. Jerry Lee Lewis with the second hottest hit on the charts in January of what year? 1956, 1958, or 1960? If you picked 1958, you're absolutely right. It probably would have reached number 1, but At the Hop by Danny and the Juniors was holding on to the top spot for several weeks back then. Here's another hit which surprisingly did not reach number 1. Baker Street from 1978. Who's the singer?
Winding your way down on Baker Street, lighting your head and dead on your feet. Well, another crazy day. You'll drink the night away and forget about everything.
Baker Street, a song that sizzled in the summer of '78. The singer was Jerry Rafferty, the former lead voice for Stealers Wheel, best known for the hit Stuck in the Middle with You. Baker Street, which ranks 7th on this countdown, was stuck at number 2 because Andy Gibbs' shadow dancing would not let go of the top spot. Now, number 6, Creedence Clearwater Revival, with one of 5 hits they had which stalled at number 2. What's the title of this one from 1969? Surprising, isn't it, that CCR didn't reach number 1 with that classic? If you guessed Proud Mary, then you guessed right. That hit, which ranks number 6 on this countdown, stayed in the second best chart position for 3 weeks. It was kept from number 1 by both Everyday People by Sly and the Family Stone and Dizzy by Tommy Roe. The 5th biggest number 2 hit is one I bet you thought reached number 1 because it was so popular and it sold a few million copies. Ymca by the Village People from late 1978, early 1979. Here's your question. Was it a hit before or after In the Navy? Find out in a few seconds.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
Number 5 in the countdown of the 10 biggest hits that peaked at number 2, Ymca by the Village People. It would have reached number 1, but both Le Freak by Chic and Do You Think I'm Sexy by Rod Stewart wouldn't let it in. My question was Ymca a hit before or after In the Navy? The answer? Before. In the Navy arrived about 4 months later. This next one is a timeless classic from 1965 by Bob Dylan. It's number 4 on the list. What's the title? You have only a few seconds to come up with the answer.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be without a home? Like a complete unknown.
Number 4 on the list of number 2s on pop music trivia, Bob Dylan from 1965 with Like a Rolling Stone. It would have certainly rolled into the top spot in the charts, but the Beatles had a firm grip at number 1 with Help. Speaking of the Beatles, one of their other hits kept this one from reaching number 1, Twist and Shout from 1964. Who had a hit with it 2 years earlier in 1962?
Well, shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. Twist and shout.
Number 3 on the top 10 biggest hits you thought reached number 1, Twist and Shout by the Beatles, which was number 2 for 4 weeks. The Fab Four's Can't Buy Me Love kept it from the ultimate chart position. It was the Isley Brothers who had a hit with that song originally 2 years earlier in 1962. Number 2 on the number 2 countdown is a classic rocker with debatable lyrics, and another one that surprisingly did not top the charts, Louie Louie from 1963. Name the group. What a great party song, with number 2, Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. You may ask, how come that song didn't reach number 1? It was number 2 for 6 weeks. Well, the Singing Nuns Dominique and Bobby Vinton's There I've Said It Again ruled, and they weren't about to be dethroned. Okay, we're down to the last number 2 hit, with number 1, Elvis Presley, Can't Help Falling in Love. From what 1962 movie?
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help.
Number 1 on the number 2 list of the 10 biggest hits you thought reached number 1. Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love was from the movie Blue Hawaii. That hit didn't reach number 1 because Peppermint Twist by Joey D and the Starlighters held on to the number 1 position. How did you do on the quiz? If you enjoyed it, please share it, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Join me next time for more pop music trivia. Thank you.